Hi, my name's Captain Jeff. I teach sailing at the Sailing Academy here in the Chesapeake Bay. I'm going to talk to you right now about navigating into a channel or coming into a harbor. The first thing you want to look for is the green number 1. You can see there's a green number 1 behind me. I'm going to look for that first. Anytime you see a number 1, it's talking about it's showing you there's a new river, new estuary, or a new harbor to come into. That's the one I'm looking for to safely navigate into this harbor here. The greens are going to be on my left-hand side. My reds are going to be on the right-hand side. That's an easy rule to remember: red, right, return. Now, if I'm looking for a green number 1, I'm expecting there to be a red 2 corresponding to it. There was no red 2 corresponding to it, so I'm just going to go close to the 1, but I'm going to get far enough away from it so another boat can get between me and the green marker number 1. I don't want to get too close to it because people need to get in between me and that mark. So the channel probably tells me that I've got a little bit more deep water off to the starboard side since there's no mark. But now I'm just going to start looking for that red number 2. Now with the red markers on my right-hand side, it's going to show me where the starboard side of the channel is. I can tell those markers by their shape, I can tell them by the color, and I can tell them by the letter or the number that's inside there. Now this one has a 2, which is an even number. All the red marks are going to be even, the green marks are going to be odd. So I know which side of the channel the marker's on, and I don't need to be between those 2 markers. I found my red 2, now they're going to be ascending order as I go in, and that's going to help me work my way into this channel. I'm looking for a green marker that's going to be like either a 3, or there might not be a 3, I'm going to look for a 5. So we're going to look for the next mark, which is going to be a green mark. Our first 2 marks were fixed pilings, we call those beacons. The next mark we come to is number 5. This one's a floating mark. We call this a green can. So the green can and the reds we call red nuns. Next one is number 5. It is a green can, and the floating marks are movable. I'm going to really pay attention to the floating marks because they're probably going to move those before they move the fixed pilings. So if it's sitting a little bit into the channel, I'm going to make sure I've got a lot of space between me and the mark, and I'm going to leave that green mark to my port side, stay in the middle of the channel going forward. After our green 5, we found our red 6. This is the floating mark. It's the red nun floating 6 mark. Now you can see it has kind of curved in on the sides, on the very, very top, like a triangle shape a little bit. Again, so you can differentiate between the shape of the mark. It helps us to tell the difference between the reds and the greens. If for some reason it's hazy, we can't exactly see the color. Next, as we go down, we're going to find a couple of more beacons. They're fixed beacons and they're day marks only. Now these are the first 2 marks that are actually side by side coming in this channel. They're not lit marks, so they're day beacons. At nighttime, you're going to shine a flashlight on them. If you do, they've got this reflective paint where they'll light up and you can really see the channel nice and clearly. But you do have to kind of search for them a little bit. So 9 and 10, fixed day beacons. Red number 12 is a lit mark. You can see the light on top. It's going to help me during the day because it has everything as the other marks do, but it does have the added lit mark. You got to look at the chart to see. It'll be flashing at certain intervals so you can differentiate it between the other marks. Of course, now that I've explained the red and green marks to you and how to tell which side of the channel you should be on with the red and greens, now we come to one that's got both. Just trying to confuse you. It's got the green on top and then a red band and then green on the bottom. The way we treat this mark, this is called the Junction Buoy or bifurcational mark. This mark is going to have the green on top, which is telling us that the primary channel is going to be green. So I'm going to treat this as a green, keep it on my left-hand side, and keep proceeding in. If it was red on top, that would tell me that I want to keep it on the right side coming in. But as long as I've done my navigation on my charts and I know which way I'm supposed to be going, and I'm going to stay in the primary channel, I'm going to treat it as a green. As I'm coming down the channel, I come to another green number 1. That means that it's a different channel. So if I'm navigating down the primary channel, I'm going to keep going. But if I see this number 1 and that's where I want to go, then I'm going to treat this as a green and then pass it, keep it on my left-hand side. So that's actually where my slip is. It's down this direction. So I'm going to take this green day mark and I'm going to keep it on my port side as I proceed in. Now, from this point, I don't see any more red or green marks. So I'm going to assume, of course, I have checked my chart prior to this, but I'm going to assume I've got deep water between the two marinas, the slips on the port side and the slips on the starboard side of me. So I'm going to proceed pretty much mid-channel on down to my slip. And again, I don't need any marks. If you pass all the marks and you see boats here, I'm going to assume that, hey, this is plenty deep for me to proceed down. Also refer to your chart too. Sometimes the marks will end and it will be marked it's really shallow and you don't want to go in anymore. So at this point, you're going on just visual navigation and then what the paper chart says. If you liked this video, thought it was helpful, hit the like button, subscribe. We'll give lots of more tips like this one, sailing, navigating, knot tying, all things to do with learning to sail. Hope you have a great time. We'd love to see you out at the Sailing Academy sometime.